Abundance, 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 and gratitude to all. I have been saying this since I found myself. I found myself through anatomy, learning how my body functions. That's how I found myself. I found myself and I found my purpose through anatomy, physics, chemistry, biology, genetics, neurology. If you understand and understand science, your anatomy, your genetic makeup, and you make decisions through science, through your genetic makeup, you will make calculus decisions. And as I stated to you before, there is a specific reasoning on why they make sure that so-called black women are in the hospital giving birth to our babies. And the so-called black woman has the highest maternal mortality rate out of all species, and she's the most 100% natural to not just this planet, to the entire cosmos. You don't see elephants having maternal mortality rate, a high level of that. You don't see that. You don't see that at all in nature. But all of a sudden, when we allow them to birth our babies, look at what's happening with us. But here you go.
Detailed herbal protocol for every disease, and share this video.
What? Are you serious?
There is absolutely no business for a doctor to be at a normal birth. As a matter of fact, everything about being a doctor is against normal birth. They have stolen birth from birthing women and put it under their control, and they are making it more and more a medical procedure, which it is not. Birth is part of the normal life cycle. Birth was put into the hospital for no good scientific reason, and it should not be in the hospital. This 80 to 90% of women do not need to go to the hospital to have a child. It can be in an out-of-hospital birth center, or it can be at home. Home birth is absolutely safe, and there is a mass of excellent scientific research that proves that for the 80 to 90% of women who have no medical problems, home birth, planned home birth, is a perfectly safe, rational option. You know, the obstetrician is trained as a surgeon. He's a surgeon. He or she is a surgeon. What do surgeons do? They cut. And so, of course, they want to cut. So they're going to cut more and more. And if they cut more, they get more money, they get more prestige. The hospital gets more money, the hospital gets more prestige. And this is why there is this huge gap between what we know should be done and what is going on. First of all, they change her from being a human to being a patient. They take off all of her clothes, which is not necessary. They put her in bed. She doesn't need to be in bed. But they put her in bed. They treat her like she's sick. And they treat her as a patient. This all needs to stop, because every one of these interventions carries a risk. Epidurals for pain. Women die from epidurals. You know, they don't tell a woman that when she's in the hospital. Do they tell her the real facts about epidural? That she might die? They never say that. She might have a grand mal epileptic seizure. They don't tell her that.
Comment the word join for the...
Okay, so let's get into the science and the reasoning again, why they put birth inside the hospital, because again, it's all about the so-called black woman and her genetics. Starseeds, little babies, more importantly, black babies. We're not talking about no other, we're talking about so-called black babies. We're not talking about no other race of children have what you call totipotent stem cells. These totipotent stem cells are undifferentiated cells. These cells, they can become any cell within the body, any cell. So even a placenta, they can create another placenta. So let's give an example. So let's say if you have neurodegenerative disease, where though your neurons in your brains are going dead, and you know your brain controls your physical reality. So if your brain is not functioning at its optimal performance, you're not having a full life experience on earth. You're what you would call mental challenges. So let's start with that. The totipotent stem cells can become any cells, even neurons. So not only you can become any cell, life is in the blood with dopamine. All of this stuff here, the so-called black woman and her children produces these things. They didn't have you in the hospital because they cared about you or they wanted you to have healthy births. That has nothing to do with it, because we have the highest maternal mortality rate because they are killing our babies. Now we're not even babies are not being birthed through the canal, through the womb. They're being C-section out now. So this is even more worse when it comes to our children. Not to mention the fact that when these things are taking place, it messes up the growth and the development of the brain. And again, if your brain is underdeveloped, then you're not going to have a healthy, full individual experience on earth like you're supposed to. You're not going to be thinking. Critical thinking is out the window. You're going to have low cognitive skills. So therefore, you're going to think you're inadequate in a world that is inadequate for you. So this is how they pull it off that you're dealing with ADHD, your child has ADHD, your child has learning disabilities. Yeah, because of all the chemical abuse that you have put into my mother. More importantly, also the epidural, it has the baby high. So now that the epidural is inside the baby is high. The mother central nervous system and internal system is all fucked up and is not even regulated anymore. These are all problems that occur with us abandoning who we truly are and accepting the ideology, the lifestyle, the culture of another species. But see, you got to have one of them come out and actually tell you this in order for you to actually want to do research and learn. I told you, this is an embarrassment for the organic species, and the joke is on them. But I'm going to tell you something. The embarrassment is worse than the joke that's been played on them. This is what you don't even get. A lot of people sit back celebrating the sun is white, the radiation levels increased on the planet. You know what I mean? They're going back into the cave, back into the dark ages. What you don't understand is the embarrassment on the organic species of this motherfucking universe, not just this planet, but the universe, is worse than the fucking joke that's on them. You can't blame them for what they're doing. We are following them. As we are following them, they're experimenting on them and using every tactic that they possibly can to get access to our genes, get access to our blood, get access to our physiology, our phenotype, because they are looking to extract that gene, that universal gene that we have that allow us to do that immortal gene. For one, we're immortal, and it allows us to do whatever we want, no matter what planet we are born onto. Understand and overstand that. Abundance and gratitude to all.